Okay, today's lesson, 3.3, is cosine law. Or sorry, 2.3. Okay, cosine law. You're going to see two formulas on your formula sheet. So a squared equals b squared plus c squared. Subtract 2bc cosine a. The other formula on your formula sheet is cos a equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2bc. Okay, this is the same formula. It's just rearranged so that this one can solve for a side, and this one would be if you're solving for an angle. It's already done the algebra of solving it for you. Okay, some things to note. This is an A and this is an A. So these would be opposite of each other. And here you see an A and A, so these are opposite of each other. So in this formula you can see that there's one of them that you subtract. This one better be the one that's opposite of the angle. Okay, I'm going to tell you that you're going to use this in an SAS situation, which means you're given a side angle side, and you're going to use this when you're given a side 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 situation. Okay, so let's look at example 1. I'm going to give you 8, 10, and 60 degrees. Okay, so here when I look at this, I can see that I have an SAS situation. So an angle that's sandwiched in between two sides. Do you see it? Okay, so I'm solving for this x. So this is my opposite part of the formula. So this needs to be x and this needs to be 60. The b and c in the middle parts of the formula doesn't matter if you put 8 squared plus 10 squared or 10 squared plus 8 squared. 8 and 10 are interchangeable. Okay, ready? We're going to go x squared equals the side length squared. So 8 squared plus 10 squared. Subtract 2, 8, 10 cosine of 60 degrees. Okay, so in your calculator, you're going to literally type all of that in one big giant step. Okay, so 8 squared plus 10 squared minus 2 times 8 times 10 times cos of 60 equals, and you get 84. Okay, so that's 84, but the formula gives me a value for x squared, so if I want to know x, then I would square root. So I'm going to square root my answer, and my side length is 9.17. Okay, example 2. Let's go 7, 14, and 10. And I'm going to find the smallest angle. That's what I'm going to ask you to do. So if you're to find the smallest angle, what do you know? It is across the smallest side. So that would be that angle. Okay, so in this formula, I'm just going to write this formula out so we have it handy here. In this formula, if I'm finding this angle, the angle or the side across from it better go into this spot. So this spot better have, you better put the 7 in that location. That's the most important thing to remember. Okay, so the 14 and 10, that doesn't matter in here, the b and the c. So 10 squared plus 14 squared, subtract 7 squared, okay, that's important, over 2, 10, 14. Okay, two things you can do here. You could say 10 squared, I'll do it both ways. 10 squared plus 14 squared minus 7 squared equals, and you can write down that number. Then you can go 2 times 10 times 14 and write down that number. Then you can do that number divided by that number. Okay, remember we're finding an angle, so you should press inverse, but this time you're cos-inversing. And you get 28.1 degrees. Okay, that's method 1 you could do. The faster method is that you contain everything in the top divided by everything in the bottom. Because if you type it all in one step, the order of operations it's going to pick is to take this divided by 2 instead of all of this divided by all that. Okay? So typing it all in is not going to give you what you want. So that would look like this. Brackets. 10 squared plus 14 squared minus 7 squared, bracket, divided by, bracket, 2 times 10 times 14, bracket, cos inverse. Okay? So just make sure that you're careful with your calculator, how you're typing that in, so it's not doing the order of operations wrong on you. Okay, so that's the 2 examples of how to use cosine law to either solve for a side or an angle.